So, eyes up here, phones away. So, what is something that you were really excited for, but you had to wait a long time to get it? You raise your hand and then put it right back down. Julia.
Yeah, too late. So my birthday is in November, right?
Right.
So my mom asked me to start making a list, and so I got all this cool stuff, but I have to wait until my birthday.
Right. Okay. So birthday presents. All right, Eli. Mafia. That was like a 2-year wait. That was. Matthew.
World peace.
World peace. Okay.
12 years, I'm still waiting for it.
Okay. Fancy. Andrew.
My dog.
Had to wait a long time for your dog? Was it like as a gift, or was your dog just really slow while you were down the street? Or
Convince my dad.
you had to convince your dad? Okay, I get you. Is the dog like, does your dad like really love the dog now? Yeah, it always happens. All right, Leo.
No, I can't.
We'll come back. Abby.
A new dog harness for my stuffed animals. It's my sister lost my last one.
A new harness for your stuffed animals?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Leo, you remember yours? Nada. Okay. Eli. Winter break and spring break? Basically any break from school, I'm guessing.
Yes.
Leo.
I'm going to Six Flags on Saturday, and last week I thought I was going on that Saturday, but I wasn't, so I
So it's this Saturday.
yeah, so I'm waiting to.
Okay. So let's get one adult. Adults. What was something, an adult? What was something that, okay, Judy.
When I found out I was having a baby.
Is this one, James?
It could be James, Josh, even Alyssa.
Oh, okay. There you go. Just anytime you're looking forward to a kid.
Oh, the grandson is the longest.
Right? That kid's cute. I love that kid. He's so cute. So, you could be waiting for a video game, a book, a movie. It could be a vacation, world peace. It could be, for some of you guys could like be waiting to get your license because you want a cool car. Is that you, Michael? No, you don't care? Okay. All right, no cool car for Michael. He gets a bike. All right. It could have been whenever you were 5 and Christmas was the biggest thing of the year. How many of you guys would get like super excited like 2 days before Christmas? Like couldn't like settle down. You're like, can I just open them now? Presents are like right there, right?
Why would they prepare the presents like right under the tree before Christmas?
I know. It's like they're taunting you.
My dog opened presents. That's like that's
Good dog.
that might be a very good decision.
So, with all these things, what was waiting like? What did it feel like? How did you feel about it? Frustrating.
Thoughts rushing through my head like boats on a canal. Will I ever get this? Will this ever happen? Oh gosh, I can't wait no longer.
You need to be a poet. I love it. Leo.
Can you repeat the question?
What was it like waiting for like the thing you were talking about? Torture? Oh.
Medieval torture.
Deep.
That's not
Pain? Okay. Matthew?
See, it was dreary like everyone else is explaining, but like it was easy for me just to find something else to do. And
Okay.
I left my mind.
You had to like,
Yeah, but then when
Yeah.
it comes back, it's just terrible.
you had to like, it was terrible whenever you're thinking about it, but like whenever you're busy doing stuff, it was okay. Right? Okay. Eli?
It was slow. Like time was like.
Right. 4 hours later, and you look at the clock and 5 minutes have passed by. I got you. Wait till you have your first job. So, anyway, talking about things that we are waiting for, okay? Now, the stories that we read in the Bible show times from the beginning to the end, all right? It is told over 3 continents and originally written into 3 different languages. Now, we have a lot more different languages now, but the original first books were written in 3 different languages. And its words have impacted countless Kingdoms. Now, we talked a little bit about kingdoms last week. This is a continuation of that. All right, where we're going to get more in depth about what kingdoms are, what God's kingdom is, and what it looks like through history, and what it looks like for us. All right? We use the words kingdom a lot. We also talk about it a lot in the Bible. If you read the Bible, the word kingdom is used a ton of times. Now, again, we did talk about it a bit last week, and we are going to take some extra time on this today because understanding how God's kingdom is different than our kingdoms is crucial to how we understand the Bible and honestly how we understand life. So, I asked this question last week, but we're going to recap a bit. What is a kingdom? Abby?
A place where typically a king or a queen or some kind of monarch will rule over.
Right. Something that like someone in power rules over, right? Yeah. Now, we are going to go through a way that God's kingdom is described. Now, this is generally a way that it is described throughout multiple different scholars today on how we understand what his kingdom is through the Old Testament, through the New Testament to today, and through what happens at the end of time. And I'll explain it, but it's going to be kind of weird at first. All right? Kind of going to be described by this diagram. All right? Now, this is a diagram that's called the here, but not yet. Now, this area here is where we were after the fall of the Garden of Eden. And we had the chance for God's will to be the kingdom. So like if we included the garden like right before here, it'd be like up top here, okay? Everything was hunky-dory, right? And then we fell. All right. You like, that's the noise it made too. All right. Now, during the Garden of Eden, we had the chance for God's kingdom to be over our lives, for him to be the ruler, for him to set the stage, the rules on how we lived. But we decided that we wanted to establish our own kingdom, and then, all right. You guys are laughing too much at that. Now, every kingdom, empire, government, etc. in history has been a result of humans wanting to run things themselves. So I want to ask you this question. Before Jesus came into this world, and even today, how do you think we did running the different kingdoms? Like, think about the different kingdoms, the different empires, the different land situations. Think about like the Aztecs, the Roman Empire, Greek Empire, ancient Egypt. How do you think we did? So I saw your hand first, Maxwell.
We did fine.
We did fine?
We did fine for the most part until disease broke out, wars happened, falling of civilization.
So we did all right the first day.
We did all right like the first few days.
First few days,
there's,
okay. All right. Because the first few days you got to build that kingdom, and then you take a nap, and then.
Yeah, you gotta find your area. You gotta find your area. You gotta find.
All right. Right.
Find where you sleep.
All right, Abby.
We had to do somewhat good because some of these, like, they're around today, but for the most part, we failed and all of these kingdoms collapsed.
Wait, which empire is around today? You know an Aztec empire?
Whoa! The Roman.
We learned about them last year.
The Roman Empire is still around today. I need to talk to my history teacher. So, if we look back at some of these empires and you look at them, some of these different kingdoms, we have never really done that well at running kingdoms by our own power. The Old Testament was a time where people fought for power. They wanted all the money and worked to fulfill all of their sexual desires. Now, if you look at any kingdom, even today, you will see that one, if not all three of those things, drove those kingdoms. Now, those three things were the things that drew people away from God in the Old Testament and to this day. Now, we see this trend time and time again with different rulers. Now, if we look at some examples in the Bible, we see Pharaoh. Who remembers the story of Exodus, Pharaoh in Exodus? Someone give me a very quick description. What happened? Moses, Pharaoh, Alexis.
Moses was sent to help lead the Israelites out of Egypt.
Right.
And Pharaoh wouldn't let them go.
Yeah, he wasn't having it.
Yeah.
Not in his backyard.
And so Moses asked God for help, and God sent these 7.
Is it 10 plagues, isn't it? Is it 10, Gary, I believe? Normally you would ask me and I would know it, but now my brain is going full potato.
10 times he went and said,
Yep.
"Let my people go," and 10 different plagues happened.
You see, this is why I love having Gary here, because whenever my brain goes like just, then he has my back. Thank you, Gary.
Make that noise. Can you just make that noise?
Just,
We're gonna have to watch Hee-Haw after this so they understand where it comes from.
I have no idea what that means. All right. So we see Pharaoh in Exodus wanted power over the Israelites. Now we see in the book of Esther, King Xerxes. Does that name sound familiar to you?
Yes.
King Xerxes.
Yeah.
Don't spoil it, Brian. I'll get to you. Hold on. What is Xerxes best known for? To give you a hint, he is a Persian emperor.
Did he kill a lot of people?
Yeah, he's an emperor. Yeah.
Emperor, what do you expect him to do? Not kill someone?
What emperor doesn't kill someone? So, any idea?
Flying carpets.
No. Brian?
Didn't he star in like 300?
Okay, so that movie is very inaccurate, but you guys know the story of the Spartan warriors.
Oh, wait. Yeah, when they went to the valley and they all died.
Yeah. They held off for quite a long time against a Persian army that was multiple thousands, where it was like 300. The story is that it was 300 Spartan warriors, but it was more, but they were still vastly outnumbered. That's the same Xerxes, or that's what historians believe is the same Xerxes. So yes, he is best known for the battle with the 300 Spartans. Now, as we see in the book of Esther, he's actually mentioned in the Bible. Isn't that interesting? But in Esther, he decided that he was bored and wanted to exploit women sexually in his kingdom because he wanted to find a new wife. Now, King Solomon, this is the son of King David, the wisest man. Ish. He was considered the wisest person. He asked God for wisdom. Now, and originally he did strive after God, but he did fall to his desires, and in all honesty, he fell to all three of these. But one that I want to touch on is the amount of money that he had. Moolah. So, to put this into perspective, people today, historians, believed that he was one of the richest people ever to live. So, to put that in even more perspective, who knows Jeff Bezos? Jeff Bezos. Right. Jeff Bezos, his net worth is $191 billion with a B. Okay? Now, scholars believe that Solomon at his peak had about 2.2 trillion. Now, you guys may be like, it's just whatever. No, that's about 11 Jeff Bezos. That is. So, as we can agree, that is just a stupid amount of money. All right? And honestly, Solomon had power. He had money. And he fulfilled any sexual desire that he wanted. But the interesting thing is that he wrote another book in the Bible called Ecclesiastes. Now, this is a whole book basically saying how useless and unfulfilling all of that is in the grand scheme of things. Now, this time in the Old Testament, this was the time of man's kingdom. But we were given some hope. If you turn to Daniel 2:44, everyone go ahead and turn to that real quick. Daniel 2, 44.
Yeah,
Well, you said 34.
Well, you should know that whenever I say that, I mean 44.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure he said 44.
What? No,
Daniel 2. Daniel 2. Aside from John, probably one of the most normal names in the Bible.
91 through 21.
It's chapter 2, verse 44.
Then it's not that big.
4:4. 4:4.
What was it? 443? Wait, are the Bibles right?
Shh.
That's like a good question.
Daniel 2, verse 44. What was that, McKenna?
Nothing. I figured it out.
Okay. So who wants to read that? It's short. Go ahead, Abby.
During the reign of these kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that will never be destroyed or conquered, and will crush all these kingdoms into nothingness, and it will stand forever.
Yes. A kingdom made from God is coming. That was the hope for the people in the Old Testament. Now this brings us to Jesus. Now Jesus is the Messiah that the world waited for so long. Israel imagined a Messiah that would bring a worldly kingdom that would lead them to be a very powerful nature and crush their enemies. But Jesus did something very different. He came into this world not to rule like the kings, the emperors, or the pharaohs, but to flip how things of the world work altogether. Now, to kind of give a little description of this and what we gain from what Jesus did and what this did for us, I have a quick video. It's a bit of a longer video, but stick with me. It's only like 4 minutes.
That's a long video.
Spiritual beings. In Genesis 1 and
You guys
2,
will watch about 4.
they're made of the dirt, like the animals.
But notice that God calls humans to become something more. He elevates them to live and rule in Eden, the place where heaven and earth are one. And they're invited to eat from the tree of life.
Now, what does that mean, to eat of the tree of life?
Well, it's an image of receiving God's own eternal life into yourself. It's about a whole new kind of existence.
So wait, physical beings living forever. How could that even work?
Well, somehow, sharing in God's life transforms our bodies so that we can inhabit heaven and earth at the same time. And it also transforms our imaginations so that we learn how to rule the world like God in the power of love.
This is an amazing calling, but humanity is quickly deceived by a spiritual rebel.
Yes, he lies to the humans, saying that they can rule and get eternal life on their own terms. And God exiled all of them from the garden.
They're cut off from the source of true life. Evil and death now have power over us, and we live in a world of fear, self-preservation, and violence.
But God promises that one day a human will come to defeat evil and death at their source, and to open up a new way to a reunited heaven and earth. And this promise reaches its fulfillment in Jesus.
Right, when we're introduced to Jesus, he's a human, but he's also way more.
Yeah, we're told that in Jesus, God and humanity have become one, so that he can restore the rest of humanity to its lost calling.
And Jesus was tested by that same deceptive spiritual being, not in the garden, but out in the wilderness.
Yeah, it tells Jesus the same lie. You could rule the whole world right now if you come under my authority and do things my way.
But Jesus knew that that lie leads to death, so he rejected it and was victorious over the spiritual power of evil.
And so then Jesus started announcing that God's heavenly rule was arriving here on earth through him. And so he went around confronting the power of death in his healings and his exorcisms.
Jesus was opening the way back to eternal life, to rule with God and become new humans.
Yes, he also confronted our imaginations by teaching how corrupt spiritual powers enslave whole communities with their lies.
Lies like, my tribe is superior to your tribe.
But Jesus said every human is an image of God.
Or the lie that power comes through force.
While Jesus taught that real power requires sacrifice and generosity.
Or the lie that peace comes through violence.
While he said that true peace comes through self-giving love.
This is a new kind of humanity.
Yeah, a humanity transformed by God's life and his love.
And Jesus didn't just talk about these ideals, he lived them out.
Yeah, exactly. He brought God's heavenly kingdom to Jerusalem to confront the powers. In fact, that's what got him arrested.
Well, so maybe the way of Jesus can't win.
But from Jesus' point of view, his coming death was actually a battle.
A battle?
Yeah, not against humans, but against the real enemy, the spiritual powers that enslave us through their lies. Jesus gave his life and let evil do its work. But God's love has the power to create life, even out of death. That's what happened when Jesus rose from the dead.
And the risen Jesus is human, but a new kind of human.
Yeah, when Jesus' followers met him alive from the dead, he had a transformed body that could live in heaven and earth at the same time. He's like a new category of human, one that can live and rule with God forever.
Jesus is the new humanity that we're called to become.
Right. He said that all authority in heaven and earth belongs to him, and then he sent out his followers to announce that his eternal life is available to us now, in the present.
We can experience eternal life now.
Well, Jesus said that eternal life is knowing this God of love, so that our imaginations can be transformed as we're liberated to love God and to love our neighbor. And we trust that even if we die, God's love will transform our bodies and raise us up into the new creation.
And that's how the story of the Bible ends.
Yeah, the ending is a new beginning, with Jesus and the new humanity ruling in a united heaven and earth together.
So, this new humanity, and through this video, you guys see that Jesus came to show us a new type of kingdom, a new way of living. Honestly, our original purpose, but it's a new view for our purpose. Now, the thing about this diagram is that we kind of get to the box part after Jesus' death, and this is actually the most confusing part in a way to all this, because right here is the Old Testament where we are lost. Okay? This middle part is the here but not yet. And essentially what that's talking about is that we have Jesus in our life. We have the kingdom in us if you are a follower of Christ. But we are still in a fallen world. And the glimpses of God's kingdom, it's shown through us. Just like whenever Jesus showed us God's kingdom. So, we are not called to be part of this world. We're not called to be part of this worldly kingdom. If you guys look at John 17:16, you don't have to turn there. It says, "They are not of the world, just as I am not of this world." And that's Jesus saying that. Now, we are not supposed to follow the desires of this world because it leads to pain. It leads to destruction, oppression, and death. We are supposed to desire God's kingdom because his kingdom brings love, wholeness, equality, and everlasting life. And it's also to give people a glimpse at this. Now, in closing, when God's kingdom comes into full effect, all things will be made new. All things will be restored. All right, and I don't mean that. It doesn't mean that that the world is just going to be perfect from his return to eternity. It does mean that as well, but it's not just that. All right, it means that all the pain, suffering, all the times you are sad, lonely, hurt, betrayed, all the people that have been taken advantage of or oppressed, all that will be made right. All that will be reconciled. That is the kingdom that we wait for. That is the kingdom that we show to others whenever we show our fruits, whenever we show Jesus to them. That is the kingdom of our God. And that kingdom, just like what you guys mentioned earlier, is what we should be waiting for. So a couple of announcements before I send you guys to your small groups. All right? You guys know all the signups. We have Mafia Friday for 7th through 12th. This Friday. 2 days. You didn't know it's on the sheet there, 15th October? Oh, yeah. Yeah, Maxwell. Geez. No, I'm just kidding. Invite all your friends, like all of them. Sign them up and then be like, I already signed you up. You have to go. Yes.
What time is that?
It's 7 to 10 p.m. All right? No, it's not. So, we also, listen up. Harvest Fest signups out there. You guys know about that. Sign up for games so you can stay for the after party. Also, November 12th, the sign-up's up here as well. All-nighter. All right? 12 hours, 8 p.m. to 8 a.m. Games, food, Bible. We're going to have laser tag. Gary, you're not allowed to be tired yet. We're not at the all-nighter. All right. November 12th. It should be a Friday. Yeah. You're going to be late. We have 12 hours.
That's past my bedtime, mate.
So, we'll have games, board games, video games, laser tag, food, all this other fun stuff. So, sign up. What? No, I'm kidding. What's up? What's up, McKenna?
If I were to text you and tell you that I could go, can you sign me up for Harvest Fest?
The sign up's right there.
I know, but I don't know if I'm able to. And it's online, right? Okay, then I'll
So that's what we have, guys. All right. Now, we're going to go to our small groups. Who was in the fireside last time?